Hi guys, it's Rhyno Smith, and this is the final whistle.
To the final whistle, brought to you by the Rugby Connection podcast. Well, we are back in the beautiful city of Treviso with one of the most exciting players in the URC. He tore it up at Sharks, he tore it up at the Cheetahs, and he is just on top form over in Benetton. It's Rhyno Smith. Rhyno, thank you so much for coming on. How are you getting on?
Mari, thank you very much. What a massive introduction. Suddenly I feel like the weight of the nation on my shoulders. No, just kidding. Thank you very much for the kind words. Yeah, getting on well, thank you. Just very warm recently. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm all good. It's a bit warm, not the nice warm that we all want, but warm still the same. But thank you so much for agreeing to come on. I would like to say you've made history, but I would be lying to you because we have had a Shark, we have had a Benetton player, but you are our first Benetton back, so there you go.
Well, it's something. I'll take it.
It's all good. First question, we ask all our guests this, just to get the ball rolling a little bit. What actually got you into rugby in the first place?
I think if you're a boy growing up in South Africa, rugby feels like a no-brainer. It feels like it's going to get shoved down your throat one way or the other. But to be fair, I grew up in a house where my dad, although he didn't play rugby, he claims to have played one game of rugby in the park with the boys, just like on a field there amongst the slides and stuff. That's his rugby experience. And so, but he was a massive rugby fan. And I think just his passion for the game, his passion for all sports really, was my introduction. And just from there, it kind of grew into something more than just watching on TV, I guess.
Fair enough. Love that. And I love your dad's claim to fame as well, that he played the one game in the park with his voice. I love that.
He's got a little scar on the inside of his thigh, actually, that he claims to have come from that specific rugby game. So I don't know how true it is, but the big man says it must be.
That's it, exactly. If dad says it's true, then it must be true. So there you go. Now, you play fullback predominantly. Have you always been a fullback, or have you been in different positions throughout your career?
Yeah. I think when I started playing positions, which in South Africa is around 9 or 10, I played fly off that year.
Okay.
But yeah, it's about 10 aside, so I don't know that it means much. But then other than that, I've played fullback for 90% of the rugby matches I've played in my life. So yeah, I would say 90% is maybe overestimation, like let's say 80%. And then I've played more at 10. I've played maybe 15% at 10, and then I've played 5% or so on the wing. So definitely consider myself a fullback, fly off, winger if they need me.
No, it's just, it leads into the next question. So we'll say you're fullback just because of the percentages that you gave me. Who in all of world rugby, both past and present, is your dream back three partner? So we've got you at fullback. Who's your wingers?
Ooh, very, very difficult question. Past or present, you said?
You could do one of each if you want, or do both past, both present if you want.
Okay, if I give you my ideal back three and like let's say my ideal past back three would be South Africa's 1995 fullback's name was Andre Hubert. Good big left foot. Him, and then Christian Cullen, just because I loved watching him play, but probably throw him on the wing just because. And then probably someone like John Alomo is hard to go past. Just he was everything. He's like such a unique athlete. Present, someone my age, so it's kind of strange to put him on a pedestal, but he's we have a bit of history that we played together junior rugby. So Cheslin, I mean, just a special player. I don't think there's much else needs to be said. So Cheslin, and then I really like that fullback that plays for Ireland, Hugo Keenan.
Nice, yeah, I like that. That's
good. Because he doesn't make mistakes ever. ever. Feels like he's just like super clean with it. And then yeah, I do quite like the look of Mark Delia. He's also quality. So yeah, let's say the three of them.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to give you credit though. So I'm going to start you at fullback because you are a guest. I'm going to put Brian Habana on the wing.
Oof.
And you know what? I'm going to take one of yours. I'm going to put Chesson Colby as well. There you go.
There you go. There you go. I could easily sub myself out for, do you know a guy called Gio Aplon? I'm not entirely sure.
I know Gio Aplon, yeah.
Yeah, he used to play with the white scrum cap. Genuinely, my hero growing up. I've had the privilege of meeting him, and I must say, as good of a person, maybe even a better person than he was a rugby player, and that's saying a lot because I thought he was pretty special. So, yeah, throw him in there.
As you're the guest, you can do however you want.
Well, back four. We'll make it a back four then.
Back four. A one-off charity event, 16 aside, and Rhyno's got a back four instead of a back three. There we go.
There you go. Sorted.
Now, you've played, and obviously in South Africa for the Sharks and the Cheetahs, and now you're over in Benetton in Italy. What's the biggest difference you've learned playing in those two countries?
I don't think it's unfair to say that rugby is like it's like a religion in South Africa. It's I think people will miss out on weddings and funerals to attend Springbok Test matches. So rugby is proper important to, I don't know, just everything. Obviously now history, 95 World Cup came at a good time for our country, much needed. We end up winning it. So yeah, just a lot. But and then when you come here, then it dawns upon you pretty quickly that rugby is very much a wingman to much greater things, greater sports here. So I think that's the one major difference, is that you're definitely a supporting act, but also the way that the fans interact with the game itself. I always explain this by saying, like, I think it has to do with, because they soccer fans primarily. So rugby is typically watched in silence, not complete silence, but it's quite quiet. And then if something happens that's worth cheering for, there'll be a cheer, momentary cheer, and then the volume will drop quite considerably. Whereas in South Africa, I think there's a bit more interaction, like even just a good pass, or there's a clear understanding of the dynamics of a rugby match. And so small moments are celebrated as well by the crowd, and the crowd understands that them cheering gets certain reactions. It's definitely more quiet on this side, but you grow used to it, and I quite enjoy it now, to be fair. So it is what it is.
You like the quiet. There you go. There's nothing wrong with that. What actually drew you to Benetton and obviously Treviso in Italy in the first place?
Yeah, in 2017, my then girlfriend and I, now wife, came to Italy, first time abroad really for both of us. And we visited here, and actually just before our flight back to South Africa, my wife said to me, we actually got engaged here on that trip. So memorable place first and foremost. And she actually said to me, she wants to live here one day. And I then broke the news to her, look, rugby is not really that big here, whatever. They only have 2 teams, so like competitions and stuff. And I would say casted the whole idea aside. But I would say I ran into difficulty making the match day side when I was at the Sharks. I was surrounded by a bunch of really good rugby players, and maybe the style that they wanted to play and the style that I play were not necessarily congruent always. And so I didn't play as much as I would have liked at the Sharks. So I moved to the Cheetahs, obviously, and then from there, just being exposed to Pro 14 at the time was what a privilege. Like just traveling north as opposed to Super Rugby down south was a eye-opening experience, and like just experiencing those crowds and those stadiums, and like the thought came back to me, thinking like, I think I'm ready for a shift out of South Africa. Really, that's what prompted it. So then we threw the net out, and unfortunately, the timing, obviously, with the Cheetahs getting kicked out, but then Benetton responded, and we were very happy to make the shift when the call came.
That's fair enough. No, that's good. I was actually going to say, I keep forgetting that Cheetahs were part of the Pro 14 originally, and then got chucked, and now we've got even more South African. I don't know. It's a mess. It makes no sense. But
exactly,
in the Challenge Cup, the Cheetahs are invited, but they have to play out of Italy or Amsterdam, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever works.
Whatever floats the boats and adds in the ones and the zeros and makes the whole thing tally. But I will say, just because we have the platform, I do feel that the Cheetahs were hard done by, and whoever made those decisions, whoever was the powers that be, the powers that were, I think they hurt a lot of people's careers, and they uprooted a lot of people's families that I don't think they were necessarily mindful of at the time. There were other agendas at play. Anyway, here we are. I'm really glad that they are in Challenge Cup. So good on them. And they won the Currie Cup. So big ups to the Cheetahs boys.
Love that. You just mentioned the Currie Cup. It's obviously not as well documented over here. If you could describe how important the Currie Cup is, what would you say?
I think aside from schoolboy rugby in South Africa, the Currie Cup and the interest in Currie Cup and how you say it's not well documented or much broadcasted outside of South Africa, but how well broadcasted it is within South Africa. I think those are the two streams of that pumps blood into the rugby that you see at the top level. So Springboks, obviously, first and foremost, and then by extension of that, the 4 or 5 big rugby unions in South Africa. So I definitely think it's massive. Without Currie Cup, a bunch of people wouldn't have been Springboks. Without Currie Cup, during times like now, where the Cheetahs boys, they only play 4 games, 5 games in Challenge Cup. Without that, they play at least another 10, 12 games in Currie Cup. So without Currie Cup, man, more clubs are closing their doors. A lot of rugby talent goes to waste, or not goes to waste, but boys will never play at a higher level. So I think immeasurably so for the South African rugby, from a South African rugby perspective, there's nothing bigger than Currie Cup, schoolboy rugby, and more, in recent years, something called Varsity Cup. I'm not sure if you know, but varsity rugby in South Africa has grown unbelievably big now. A lot built on the NCAA kind of play.
It's like colleges and universities. There's always like 1 or 2 games over in Scotland that are built as varsity matches, but it's like the first game of the year. So I'm like, okay. It's almost like it's almost like a friendly.
In South Africa, massive. Every Monday night, you go there, and every university has its own like atmosphere, its own like identity. Like it's awesome. I can, with honesty and with truth, say I would not be a professional rugby player today without Varsity Cup, because I was kind of overlooked coming through school and that, and Varsity Cup gave me a second chance that I don't think many clubs would have given me without. So just playing on TV and that, the exposure was everything I needed. So yeah,
there you go. Could not argue with you anymore or add any more to that, because I could just feel your passion. I love how passionate you are about it. So if you're happy, then I'm happy.
Well, yeah, 100%. And now, really, Varsity Cup, Duitser and all of the people that started that, just, I'm so grateful.
There we go. Now, back to time in Benetton. You made history last year by being the first Italian team into a Challenge Cup semi-final. Won't go into the result, but what's the next step for Benetton?
Yeah,
in your eyes?
I think it's safe to say you enter a team into URC, boys that become professional players all wake up with the same mission. You want to win as many rugby matches as possible. And so we are part of URC, we are part of the Challenge Cup for now, and we want to win both of those competitions. It will be an easier feat, easier in the sense that you only really need to win 5 games and you could be champions of the Challenge Cup. Whereas in URC, it's a much longer, drawn-out process. It's really a difficult competition, varying weather, and a bunch of international players, like world-class competition, really, URC is. So winning that, you need to win at least 10 games to get a home quarterfinal. Then you need to win all of that. And then, so 3 more games. So you need to win at least, let's say, 13, 14 games to win that. So by that, I'm just trying to say, like, we address both competitions. We approach them with the purpose and the focus of winning them. But I do think something like getting to a semi last year gives you proof of concept, in the sense that now you know it's possible, and it becomes easier for that idea and that reality to just set in. We are not training to take part. We are training to compete. We are training to win. So I think for Benetton, that's what's next. Just the consistency with how we approach games and consistency with how we perform in them. And then hopefully we can give ourselves a chance. Anything can happen in the final.
Absolutely.
And so then, yeah.
No, I agree. I want Benetton to do well all the time, apart from when you play Edinburgh. But that's about it. That's it. You could do well the rest of the season. Apart from that, that's my only rule.
Yeah, well, look, Edinburgh flipping high quality side. I always seem to miss the game in Edinburgh. So I know I played in my first year at Benetton. I played there, but even during my Cheetahs year, our game got cancelled because of COVID. And then this year, I didn't make the trip because of an injury. So I always seem to miss the flight. So I'd hope to make the trip there this year. Quality side, beautiful city. So yeah, it'd be nice to get back there on, what's the field next to Murrayfield? What's that field called?
Oh, they've just changed the name. It's now called the Hive.
Well, the Hive. It would be nice to get back to the Hive and see if we can do something nice.
And I need to see my Benetton boys. I need to see you, and I need to see Seb in person. There you go.
Shake hands, all the things.
You can't have a beer or many beers or what? I don't know. Depends on the result.
100%.
This is just a little bit of a fun one for you. If there was, is there any team, that still in World Rugby that you would be interested in playing for? Even though we know you love Benetton, but just hypothetical.
Yes. Strictly hypothetical. It would be nice to play for a team that's like got that dynasty type aura. So a team like Leinster, a team like the Crusaders, just to be a part of a setup like that, where every weekend where you jog on the field, or you're not only expected to win, but you don't look far and wide for solutions. You just kind of like, what we have here is enough, and you just go and get the job done. I think that would be, I think it's special to be a part of a team like that, like go 3 years, 4 years without losing a game. Like I wonder what that would feel like. Or if I had to say in a different competition, I would say maybe like Toulouse in France, just because they play the ball from everywhere, ball in hand. The fans love it. My few games that I've now been exposed to French stadiums and French crowds and French fans, it just seems like it would be a memorable experience. So if anything, maybe I would, but that's strictly hypothetical for now.
Strictly hypothetical, yeah, of course. He's staying at Benetton if any officials are watching. He's...
Yeah. I love it, yeah. All our friends, hello.
Has Japan ever interested you? Because I know that a lot of South African players are starting to go across to Japan.
Japan for me, not so much. It would also be hard for me to get into Japan just because I'm capped from having played sevens for South Africa. So I would have to compete against Damien McKenzie, Cheslin, like, and if any club has the choice, they're gonna go for one of them. So it will be quite hard for me to get into Japan. But I do know that, or I know a few boys that have played there and have a very good friend out there playing Sylvia Mosa. And I mean, they love it. The guys that come from there love it, every minute of it. But for me, I don't know. It's never really been on my list. But hey, maybe if one day there's a call, who knows?
There we go. No, that's fair. You did just mention your time with the Blitzbox. Now, for those that are watching and are unaware of you playing sevens, could you chuck some names that you played with on the seven circuit for South Africa?
I didn't mean to name drop it myself. I'm sorry if it sounds like it.
You're the guest. Go for it.
But since I'm here now, I may as well drop a few more. No, I played in 2018. I was a part of the academy setup for 4 months, and then I was kept with the first team, the senior team, and then I was in the academy. I guess the academy set up again for the next 2 months or so. So I was only there for 6 months. Hardest 6 months of my life by a long shot. It's not even close. It was incredibly tough, and but at the end of the year we ended up winning World Series, so it was awesome. Some of the boys that I played with, I was very privileged to play with. South Africa, probably if you look statistically, one of probably the GOAT of South African sevens rugby, the best we've ever had. And then Siabelo Sinatla, obviously, a guy like that, try scoring machine. Philip Snyman, the now coach, he was still a player. And then some of the newer boys, Selvin Davids was an academy player with me. Actually, Angelo Davids, that's playing for the Stormers now, him. There were actually a lot of boys there that we kind of came through the academy into the senior team at the same time. I was very lucky to be in their team, and so we won back-to-back academy tournaments down in South America. And so it was easy for Coach Neil, Coach Marius Kuman at the time, to consider us to be captain. So just grateful to have been surrounded by Roscoe Speckman. The list actually just goes on. It's unfair to start naming names.
Just showing off now.
Yeah, well, it also explains why I didn't play so much, because there was just quality wherever you looked. There wasn't any space.
You're far too humble. We're gonna have to snap you out of that.
No, it's the truth. It's the truth. Honestly,
it's all good. Don't worry. So, just a final sevens question before we go into something different. They've obviously changed the new setup for the World Series. Is there anywhere in the world where you think would be perfect to have a sevens tournament?
Do you mean one where they don't currently have one?
Yeah, one that's not currently on the map. Yeah.
I reckon. I know they used to have one in Japan, I think, and I reckon Japan, with how it's growing. I know we had one in Hong Kong. But I reckon Japan, or I would throw Fiji in there, just because of how the Fijians absolutely love it. They fly to wherever, I played, my debut tournament was Hong Kong, and the amount of Fijians that were there, you would have sworn it was a home tournament. It was unbelievable. We ended up playing them in the semi, and we lost by 2 points, a conversion from the corner, and they end up winning the tournament. And just seeing how hard those guys went that weekend, and just how those people, the crowd loved and supported them, was unreal. So, Fiji maybe. Final answer, Fiji.
I like that. Nobody's ever said Fiji. Every time we've asked that, it's never came up. It's usually like Argentina or Chile to get like that South American feel, which I'm all for. But see, when you said Fiji, it was just like a light bulb went off in my head. I was just like, oh, that's what we need.
In saying that, I played that, like I said, that academy tournament down in Chile, and then in Uruguay. I think the other one was unbelievable. The weather was great. The people were awesome. It was the location is unbelievable. Like, we were at the beach. It was it's one of my favorite rugby tours I've been on. My first trip. So it's not a bad answer either, to be fair.
There we go. We could choose both. You're our guest. It's all good. We can do both. We could just branch out. It's easy.
Yeah, we've already changed rugby team to 16 players with a back four. We may as well do what we want now.
May as well just change all the rules in this interview. Why not? We're going to go into something a little bit different now. We're going to get to know Rhyno as a person. So, favorite film?
Favorite film? Oh, it's a difficult question. I would have to break it down into genres, but my favorite film, I will say, is my first date with my wife. We watched a movie called About Time. It's a romantic comedy. It's actually a UK film. Unreal. So let's stick with that for now.
Call that one. It's fair. It's a good answer. If there was a film about Rhyno Smith, who would you want to play Rhyno?
Oh, do you know there's a guy in South Africa? Sadly I don't know his name, but there's an actor that once when I saw him on a poster of one of the films he was in, I was like, jeepers, that guy looks exactly like me. So maybe I'll just go for him just solely based on the fact that we look vaguely familiar. Oh, vaguely. Yeah. I don't know his name though. So.
And we're sorry we don't know his name, but I'm sure you look exactly like Rhyno. So there we go. We'll take it.
Give him the job.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs. Dogs. It's not even. If you ask me the question again, I'll answer quicker, just so that I'm really conveying my message here. Dogs.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs. Dogs.
There we go.
Okay.
Any specific breed of dog or just all dogs?
My wife's inside, hopefully asleep, so that she can't hear. We currently have a beagle, and I will say he's 7 now, and it's great to have him now. But my answer is not beagle. I think our next dog, I hope, will be a retriever. I'm not too bothered whether it's a lab or a golden retriever, but yeah, a retriever, I hope.
Your wife's just going to come round now.
She is. I might just feel something in the back of the head.
Beagles are good though. Anything, actually, beagle sized and up is okay. Anything smaller than a beagle, no, it's not a dog.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's part of it. But just, man, it's so hard to train him. Just with his nose, he's off on his own missions. But yeah, dogs, retriever.
There we go. If the dog is smaller than a rugby ball, it's not a dog.
100%. That they probably should be classified as something else, I reckon.
Like a slipper.
You're gonna make enemies for both of us here, man.
That's all good. It's all good. We just roll with the punches. It's all good. So don't worry about it. Favorite music genre or song?
Oh, my favorite song right now, I think, changed recently, and by recently I mean like in the last 2 years or so. It's called I Guess That's Why They Call It the Blues by Elton John. But my favorite genre of music is like singer-songwriter, acoustic type stuff. So my favorite artist is a guy called Ben Rector.
All right.
Ben Rector, but yeah, my favorite song right now is Guess That's Why They Call It the Blues.
Nice, I like that. Very different answer. I'm loving it.
Yeah,
quite chilled. I like, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the loud in your face stuff. We actually have obviously Matteo Minozzi, the other fullback in Benetton's group. And when he's on the music in the gym, he just pumps Adele. I love it. The other boys can't deal. And our Irish conditioning coach, Jemma, he hates every second of it. He's just like, you're killing the vibe. We need energy. And then Minozzi he just loves it. A little bit of Adele. Get the tears going.
Tears while doing on the deadlift. Love that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Fair enough. Is there any song that must be played right before kickoff? Like in the changing room?
For me, yes. My game day song is Viva la Vida by Coldplay. So.
Oh, okay. That's I like that. That's a good. Another good.
Yeah, it's just a banger. It's not gonna change the world, not one way or the other, but it's just a good one. When we play home, especially, I'm not big on like routine and so on. I'm pretty chilled, But when we play home and I climb in the car, I put my phone, that's the first song I play. And I live like only 5 minutes from the stadium. So I only really have time for one song. So I play the long version, the 8 minute, and that takes me all the way to Montego, and that gets the job done.
There we go. Sorted. I mean, Coldplay, Elton John, all the classics.
Yeah, 100%.
And Adele if Mateo's on the speaker. There you go.
That's really all you need. To be fair, I will say that I'm a late adopter to Elton John. Like, he's also my wife really introduced me fully to the world, the hidden world that was Elton John to me. So yeah, just he grew on me in a very short amount of time. And Coldplay in many ways as well. Probably last 5 to 10 years, I grew on me big time. So
happy day. Your favorite away venue?
Oof. So an easy one for me actually. Ulster. I don't know why that the energy in the crowd, and when they sing their song, like, it's unbelievable. My first time there, I played with Ruan Pienaar, and it was Ruan Pienaar's first game back at Ulster against Ulster, and just the reception that he got was like, it gives me goosebumps every time I think about it. It's just, you can just tell fans that love their club, and I think that's awesome. And I love how small it is, and it's just, yeah, top. Very difficult to play there, so it's not enjoyable to go there and play against Ulster. But that or the Stormers, DHL Stadium, yeah.
Okay, good, very different size stadiums as well. So I like that.
Yeah, 100%.
Big, you've just had a big win. You and the boys are out celebrating. What are you drinking?
What am I drinking? Man, my wife recently got me on beer shandy.
Yeah, beer with lemonade in it, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I don't drink alcohol at all. Never have, never will, I don't think. So non-alcoholic beer shandy, that's me.
Fair enough, that's good.
Yeah. Or in Italy, they, the spritz they drink, that orange or red drink. I'm also colorblind, so I can't even tell you what color it is. But in Italy, they drink that, yeah, Aperol spritz, and there's a non-alcoholic version of that, and we've grown quite fond of that as well. So, or either a gingerino or something, yeah, that's what they call it. It's quite bitter, and then or non-alcoholic beer shandy.
Fair enough. Any other soft drink that you quite like?
Yes, I go through phases, Funny enough, I quite like that iron brew that I
there we go.
In
Happy
Scotland.
days.
The former Edinburgh defense coach, our defense coach now, Kitty Callum McRae, he told me when I was visiting Scotland, he was like, try the iron brew. Really enjoyed it. So hey, maybe throw one of them in there.
There we go. I'll bring you an iron brew next time.
Yes, maybe. Yes, it would be awesome. Big win out in Edinburgh. Straight after the game, crack into a few iron brews.
Not the win. Everything else is fine, but not the win. Describe your best aspect of the game in one word.
I don't understand the question. What's my favorite aspect of rugby? Is that the question?
Yeah. Sorry, I worded that wrong. I apologize.
No. It's going to be 2 words.
Okay.
Pressure moments. So it's not a specific thing, but a scrum on the 5, 2 minutes left, or if we think back to the drop goal Munster had, setting up phases against Leinster, multiple phases, and pass the ball back, the 10 has to kick, you kick to win it, it's a whole season on the line. Or Mani Leboeck that kicked against Ulster in that semi-final 2 years ago, whatever it might be, but just a moment like that where there's everything on the line, and then either the team has to stop it or individuals have to rely on all of their years of practicing those things, and then you get the job done, or you don't, and then you live with it. Yeah.
So would you rather would you rather score the winning try or get the try-saving tackle that wins you the game? Either way you're winning.
The difficult one. Probably just because I'm an unlikely hero in terms of like defensively. Like I don't imagine many people see me as a stop a try kind of defender. So maybe just that, just for the sake of being an unlikely hero. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So defensive tackle. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Hobbies away from rugby.
Hobbies away from rugby.
Mhm.
I grew up in quite a musical family. So
Okay.
for me, I learned to play the guitar still a little bit later in life, when I was 18 years old or so. But I really do enjoy my music. When I turned 30 earlier this year, my wife actually bought me a piano. And so I started learning to play the piano with not with much success. It was much harder than I thought it would be, but let's call it a hobby. And then I really do enjoy playing some golf. I'm not very good at golf, but I do enjoy getting out and the challenge that is. My swing is a challenge in and of itself, just all of the variables that happens when I swing the club. But I really do enjoy just being out with some guys or with the guys. And then, yeah, I probably, that's me really. I'm not very interesting. If I'm off, I'll just take my wife for coffee in town and just like, that's my idea of fun. So,
Oh, you big romantic. Like,
I don't know that I'm romantic, but I'm just, yeah, I'm satisfied with just like company and chatting and something to drink or to listen to good music and just, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. This one might get you into trouble, depending on who's listening.
Oh.
Would you rather go for a braai or go and sit and have pasta?
No, for braai, without a doubt. I don't even care if all of Italy is listening. Without a doubt, barbecue, some lamb chops with a fat on it. Oh, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
You didn't even think about it. You just straight in.
It's again like the cats and dogs question for me. There are certain things in life, man. Yeah, just undeniable.
That's fair. Your dream holiday destination?
This one has become harder and harder for me to answer as I've been privileged to see a few more places in the world. Okay.
It could be somewhere you've been, if you're really like.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I've been to a few places now that, you know, the bucket list it's exploded. I would say, while I'm not living in South Africa, there's a place in Knysna, close to Cape Town in the Western Cape. It's on the garden route of South Africa. A place called Leisure Isle. Most unbelievable holiday my wife and I have ever had. So most chilled place, little island with only a certain amount of houses on, and there's a lagoon all around. Love it there. Might be my favorite place in the world. Or second to that, maybe right now the highest thing on the bucket list is to go to Australia and New Zealand. Yeah, so I would say for now that's the thing that has to be ticked. That's the box that needs to be ticked.
I like that. I like that variety as well. Very good. Very good answer.
That's right.
Final question for you today, Rhyno. One thing you'd like to be remembered for?
One thing. I think that the path that I walked from where I started to where I am now was not, it's not this, look, everyone's path is different, but in South Africa, there's kind of like a typical recipe of how you go from young boy, you play first 15 for 2 years, you play in your provincial side, there's normally like a little perfect recipe. My career is nothing like that recipe, and I hope that people remember that. I hope that people that play in the fourth side under 14 at the school realize they can make it to play for the first side, and then someone that grew up in the street where I grew up, that they think if he made it, I can make it. I can do whatever I set my mind to. So yeah, I hope that I've given people hope, no matter where they come from, that they can go on to do some awesome things, see some awesome places, and meet really cool people.
I absolutely love that. And there is no better way to round up there, because we can't top it. You're so passionate, and I could feel how important these things are to you, which makes it even more important to me somehow. You have that energy, and I'm loving it. So we'll round off there. Thank you so much for coming on. All the best for the upcoming season in the URC, apart from the 2 games, which you know. But other than that, yeah, all the best. Hopefully see you and you're not injured or COVID or whatever.
Yeah.
Stops you at the time. Hopefully we can see you in Edinburgh for a nice can of Iron Brew. I'll remember, don't worry. And yeah, this has been the final whistle with Rhyno Smith. We'll see you next time.